WSMN, its owners and/or associates.
Lisa and Robyn are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn on the mic.
Welcome back to Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, Facebook, YouTube, as well as Spotify. We are into our second hour interviewing author Rob Watts. His latest book just dropped, Focus of Attention. I am reading his first book, The Crooked Roads Through Cedar Grove, which is based in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Are these all
Dorchester?
Where can they get your book? Are they up on Amazon?
You go to Amazon or robwattsonline.com, especially for the new one, Focus of Attention, directly through there.
Perfect.
Nice.
So tell me, you had published your first book through a publisher and then they went defunct. Is that the reason you decided to self-publish? Or did you like more control over?
Yeah, a little bit of that too. I've gone the traditional publishing route and self-publishing, indie publishing, kind of back and forth a little bit. So, but I do find right now, like in this day and age we're living in, that I would strongly recommend anybody that's looking to write a book or whatever, seriously consider doing it on your own. Just because the publishing industry is a professional publishing industry isn't what it used to be years ago. I mean, there's so many books out on the market. I mean, maybe too many.
We will never read them all. The panic of us.
Yeah, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, I mean, as readers, we want every book we can get our hands on.
Right, because it takes you 3 years to write one. We read it in 3 days.
Yeah, true.
Get on that. Get on that now.
Get moving.
Get moving. What are you even doing here? You should be writing.
Yeah. But I think, excuse me, that if you want to invest 5, 6, maybe even 10 years shopping a manuscript around to, trying to find an agent that'll take it on, a publishing house, you might get very discouraged quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not to say you shouldn't try to do that. I mean, if you believe in what you have and the work you've created, by all means, do it. But if you want...
The technology now is so that you can do it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to actually make some money at doing it, do it yourself.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Do it directly. I spent the better part of the last decade, a decade before COVID hit and everything kind of stopped, of course. I was out doing book events constantly. I mean, almost just...
What kind of book events? Like
author expos,
Would you do book signings?
I did, did a lot of them and sold direct to the public, which was what I found was the most successful part of what I do, is getting to meet the person.
Yeah, the
that's
reader.
Gonna read your book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, signing it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Taking their money for it, which is
Right.
always nice. Gives you a little bit more validation. But yeah, author expos, which there's usually a big one in every pocket.
Yes, we just had our first New Hampshire Book Festival this past fall.
Did you? Okay.
So I'll send you on Instagram they're going to be doing it annually now. We had our first book festival in Concord.
Awesome.
And it's obviously they want local people.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying to be in the book scene, like we don't have as many people. Massachusetts is 7.3 million people. New Hampshire's a little over 1 point something, 1.1, 1.2.
Got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, so we don't have necessarily the numbers, which is why we've never had one in the past. But we're a lot of readers.
Oh yeah.
And I heard good news that Barnes and Noble is opening like 30 stores across the nation.
Wow.
So they're
That's
opening more brick and mortar locations.
Better
and
than hearing them closing like
yes.
we were for a while.
Yeah. And reading has really captured people again, and they don't know if it's because of Bookstagram or Book TikTok, where millions of people go on and talk about the books that they love, and authors now have a direct connection with their reader. But Hr2 was the one who really convinced me that self-publishing is the way to go, because you can spend, like you said, a decade trying to get your book published, or you can, I have another job that has to pay the bills. So can I really spend how much time writing, how much time pushing it to agents, in attempts to get it done when I'm a business person? I can just open up a business and market my own book, and then I'm not waiting for Random House to give me, here, go to 2 cities and push your book. I can believe in myself and do it.
Exactly. And to your point, you have to have a job that actually pays the
you money.
bills.
Yeah.
You are not going to do it being an author.
Not at the beginning.
Not at the beginning.
But I saw Forbes Fortune 50 or whatever. There were multiple authors on that.
Oh yeah,
as the richest people in the country.
They've hit the lottery.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story, and I won't tell you what their name is, but I had the pleasure of in another line of work I was in. It was interior design work and whatnot. Client. He had written a very huge book. I mean, we're going maybe about 22 years ago. I mean, just Hollywood adaptation. The book was published in, 70 different languages or something like that. And I had the pleasure of speaking briefly with this writer. But he had said to me, he goes, I still work a day job. He had a practice of whatever he did in the Boston area, and you would think, wow, Hollywood made a huge blockbuster film with A-list actors in it, and this book is just everywhere, widely talked about. And this person had a day job. Now, it was probably a much more better paying day job than any of us, ever think of and everything. And I'm sure he wasn't hurting, at all with book sales and whatnot.
Right.
But when you think of it in those terms, though, it's like it's really not the magical gateway
for being
most,
a millionaire.
Right.
So I read one author was saying that she hit the New York Times bestseller list, which is you have to sell 100,000 books in a very specific amount of time.
Oh yeah.
And so she knew she hit the list because people were texting and calling her going, oh my God, you must be thrilled, and talking about the success of the book, but also a money success component. And she said, if they knew that I did not pay my mortgage that month, because I'm still struggling, they paid me $3,500 of an advance, which you have to sell the books before you get your first royalty to pay that back. And it is such a small percentage. But what I really have grown, starting a publishing company and doing all my research and figuring out the financial piece of it, printing a book, cover art, for a photography, for a cookbook, you need photography, good photography. You've got to take the still, hamburger and make it look like I want to eat this hamburger, which is its own skill. Food stylists, editor, like when you see how many different people touch this, and then you're responsible for paying for it, doing it. It's different when it's a book that doesn't contain pictures, but cover art, like all the decisions that need to be made. And these publishing houses have teams of people that do it. And most of the books that they pay to produce don't make any money. So the Stephen Kings, the James Pattersons, the Gillian Flynn's, those people, their success is allowing publishing houses to take chances on known authors. Like, they don't have any previous books, they don't have any following, and give them a chance to bring art into the world. So I didn't realize all of that until I started doing my research into becoming a publishing company. I have so much more respect for publishing companies now. I appreciate them so much more because, you know, they'll put out 50 books in a year that are not, they know are not going to make any money, but they're still committed to putting them out in the world because they know Stephen King is putting us, and that'll cover those 50.
Yeah.
So they're constantly taking losses.
It is true. Like people like Stephen King or James Patterson, or you know, you can name 10 other authors right off the bat that are in that caliber. They're the ones keeping the lights on, essentially.
Yes.
And they're the ones that they're the reason why, like you said, 30 more brick and mortar Barnes and Nobles will open up and everything. Or, you know, again, like you had the Harry Potter craze.
Yes.
I think every decade you kind of have the
Something that
craze.
takes over the culture.
Yeah, the 50 Shades
Yes.
phenomenon, the Lord of the Rings kind of always comes back in one form or another.
Yep.
And it's because of the weight of those books and the audience that they bring. We kind of get the shrapnel, you know, the trickle effect. It's like, okay, well, they're there to buy the next, you know, book from whoever. But there's also these other books on the shelves that maybe it'll catch their eye and they'll buy that too. And like you said, it is a gamble, and there's really not a lot of money being made in the publishing industry. You know,
Or you think, oh, they must make it's $29 for this book. They must make so much money. If you know how much money the staff, you know, so an agent, you know, bids for it, then they have editors editing it, then they have to make cover art, then they have to buy ISBNs, then they have to print it. That, you know, like there's so many different components.
So many
this
costs
isn't
going into it.
Yeah, there's
Oh, yeah.
this isn't, oh, this is free and I made $29. This costs $24.
Yeah.
Or really it probably cost $14. The bookstore is going to get 10 because the bookseller has to make
Well, I
something.
think with Chris's
the
book,
agent gets
The
something.
agent gets something.
The author gets $1 a book.
Yeah.
That's really it. $1 a book.
Yeah. So if you sold 100,000, yes, you would get your
yeah, because
100,000.
I think Chris
bucks.
doesn't even get $1 a book on Amazon.
Yes,
like,
he wouldn't. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah,
It's-
that's why I try to sell direct too,
Yeah.
and you know, and signed copies and whatever. Again, kind of have that, build that relationship with the reader,
Yep.
and to do it that way because, you know, Amazon, it's great. It's great for visibility. It's great for someone might stumble on, you know, if you're lucky enough to get in that little bar at the bottom. You know, readers also like
Yes.
this, but again, then you got to play the review game with Amazon. You got to have a certain amount of customer reviews before the algorithm.
Picks you up.
Yeah, and that's a daunting task too. Is try, you know, if you're primarily going to sell on a market like Amazon, now you got to go out and field reviews from everybody. You're almost begging people to a certain point, and that gets exhausting and
Well,
very.
you're already like, this is the brainchild that I have put out into the world. Please don't tell me you don't like it.
Yes, yes.
My feelings will be
Yes.
crushed. Even if you could lie, could you write a review for me?
Because you know how, like, just asking people. Like,
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of
it's like
times
soul breaking,
I don't
soul
like
sucking.
It is.
asking for help. You know,
I
just
hate it.
asking. I hate asking.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like it takes 2 seconds.
And
but-
something so personal and vulnerable
yes,
as a book.
Yes.
You know, because you've thrown your heart into there. It's something built entirely from your mind. It's a creative endeavor.
Well, and
it's
hard.
like
you're
art.
asking somebody, to support me. Like, will you support me? And so you are being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And they can see it as like, oh God, I don't want to go and sign in, blah blah blah. But nowadays, I think they've made a lot of things when doing surveys and leaving reviews. They've made it a lot easier.
And I know that people love to anonymously say bad things on the internet.
Yes.
Because people are motivated to, I just read this the other day. Someone said, I'm not one to complain. And then there were 6 paragraphs about the Puritan backroom chicken fingers. And I'm like, you're not one to complain, but you put 6 paragraphs out
Yeah.
with photos.
You kind of do
You
this
woke
for a
up and
living.
put a lot of thought
I'm
into
like,
this.
right. I bet you complain all the time.
I don't.
I don't believe this. I don't like to
I don't
complain.
think this is your first one out of the
I
gate.
don't think
This is
so.
pretty. This is long form right
Right.
here.
Bullet points and everything.
Right, but
Jeez.
who's writing
Right.
6 paragraphs about how they love something?
Right.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
so
never.
much.
No. Yeah, exactly. It is. It's soul crushing.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
a sense, and it's my least favorite part of.
The process.
Yeah.
Ask everyone here. Please go to, if you've read one of his books and you've liked it, please go on robwattsonline.com and leave him a review. Go to Amazon.
Yes.
Leave him a
please.
review. Please.
Yeah, be nice and don't be one to complain, or or I'm not one to
Keep that
complain.
to yourself. Keep those complaints to yourself.
So, Rob, what do you do when you're not writing? What do you do for your other job?
So I work in product manufacturing, which isn't very exciting, but again, it
Pays the bill.
yeah, it keeps the train on the tracks,
Right. There you go.
and and I like it. I do like it. And so aside from that, I also dabble in food. Like we were talking, did culinary arts, love cooking.
How did you come up with your sauces? You have a sauce,
Yeah,
Online.
hot sauces.
hot sauces.
Yes. Well, I've always enjoyed hot sauces and spicy food and whatever. I think one of the most exciting times in my life, I think, when I was 8 years old and my parents took us to a Mexican restaurant. It was like, wow, look at all this fun stuff, red hot sauces and all this good stuff. But then, then of course, working in the restaurant business, you kind of tinker around with things. Just you experiment and whatnot and try different things. So I think, but it was about 10 years ago. Well, before that, but about 10 years ago, I had started a small hot sauce business, and just born out of my love for all things spicy and stimulating and whatnot. So I came up with a couple of different sauce recipes and started testing them out, letting people try them. Hey, what do you think of this? And then decided, you know what, I'm going to put my name on it and brand it and just kind of see where it goes from here. And
We have the Nutre people
Yeah.
here.
Nutrimills.
Nutrimills. They will send healthy meals. They own a restaurant.
okay,
And they had a parent and a brother with an overweight problem working in the restaurant and all of that. And so they started making custom meals for them for diabetes and, heart healthy, and got a nutritionist involved. And then everyone lost weight, right?
wow,
So then all of their customers were like, can you give me that food? Can you send it to my house? So they started this business, and they were talking about getting into the supermarket. Was it $60,000 for placement on the shelves?
I
Or was
think
it
so. I can't
6,000?
remember. I
Some
don't-
ridiculous amount for every product size. So if you have a product that comes in 3 sizes, that's 3 costs to get on a shelf per supermarket brand.
yeah.
So
It's-
is that sort of the reason why you decided not to go into the stores?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. I again,
Or the
I think I
supermarket.
work a lot better. Well, and especially since it's just mostly me all the time doing this, and time is very precious. I've kind of mastered the art of keeping everything tightly contained in my life, where it's manageable, and I don't want to take on too much where it just gets out of hand. Where now I'm trying to keep up
Right.
with everything, and you can only answer emails and phone calls so many times a day, especially when it's, a mixed bag of you're working in publishing and you're answering something about that. And then all of a sudden it's like a food or a sauce related thing. And
Yeah, task switching.
all of a sudden you'll forget who you're talking to after,
Yeah, yeah.
after a
So,
while.
do you still sell your sauces?
I do. Yes.
Right, and so, where
Yep.
can people find your sauces?
Go on watsauce.com, and that'll take you to the storefront, the online storefront, and there's a variety of different hot sauces, heat levels, and
What's your
all-
favorite?
I love anything jalapeno based. I know that's very basic, in the hot pepper fandom world or whatever. But I think that's always a good start because I just love the flavor of a good, jalapeno or a serrano pepper. I love cayenne peppers. So anything that habaneros, especially in that heat range level. I'm not one of these burn your face off type of sauces. God love you if you're into that. But
yeah, and you drink water and you made it worse.
Yes, yeah, your face is just gonna like explode.
So is it GW Watts?
No.
Because
Yep.
I was looking for it.
Yeah, Yeah, it should be watsauce.com.
WATTS.
All right, so I had another question.
Yes.
What do you put a hot sauce on your eggs?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
What kind? Because right now I use the Cholula.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I always when you're in a restaurant, usually that's the one.
Well,
that
a lot of times they don't have it. They have Texas Pete or Frank's.
Oh yeah,
And they have
I'm
such
not
a
Frank's-
vinegary.
Yeah, I'm not a Frank's guy or a Tabasco guy. It's like flavored vinegar to me.
It is. It doesn't have a.
No, I know it has its place in the world. Obviously, millions of people love them, and but then they're not really what I reach for. But I love a good red sauce, like Cholula you were mentioning. I think that's perfect for eggs. So, and I have a Cajun cayenne hot sauce of mine, which I do use my own sauces at home and everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's always a good one. And yes, to answer your question, I actually I don't want to eat eggs unless I can have hot sauce to put on them.
Yes.
So,
It changed we were in Aruba and they had some of their homemade sauce, or no, it was St. Lucia, and they had some kind of a hot sauce on theirs, and I was like, oh, I really like this. So when we got back, we were at the airport, and somebody's like, oh, if you like that, you should try the Cholula. And I'm like, I like that. I'm sold. We have a big bottle of it, and
Oh, so now I have to get it.
Chris is like, I'm not putting that stuff on my eggs, and now it's like it has to stay on the table.
oh come on, yeah, game changer. Come on,
Right, it is a
yeah.
game changer. I actually like making. I'll take an everything bagel sandwich. You butter it just a little bit, and you just grill it on the, oven. So instead of toasting it, you just grill it on the skillet. And then I'll do cheese and bacon and an egg, and with the Cholula, and there's my bagel sandwich. It's so good.
Nice. When's breakfast?
I know, right?
That sounds good.
All right. So what sauce would you recommend of your sauces to put on eggs?
I would go with the Cajun cayenne, or if you like sriracha, there's sriracha surge that I have. Yep, that's always a good one for almost anything.
Okay, because I make a avocado toast. So an avocado toast with feta cheese, put an egg, and then I mix half honey and half sriracha
Wow.
and then I drizzle that over it. And sometimes if I have extra cauliflower, I'll like butter cauliflower in a pan till it gets like sort of nutty.
Okay.
So it started as Cracked Kitchen in Salem used to make a avocado toast with roasted cauliflower. And then they just took it off their menu. I guess they didn't want to have cauliflower in the store. And I'm like, what now? I fall in love with this dish, and now it's gone. So it originally started at that, but then I added the egg because egg and avocado. I don't know what we did before avocado toast, but not every sriracha is the same. So I tried like 3 different srirachas before I found one I could tolerate. But you know how much honey's a fortune. I don't use the Bear honey. I use like from honey, and that stuff is like $16 a jar. And when I'm trying to make it with all these different, I'm throwing srirachas in the trash. So I'm so excited. I'm going to try your sriracha surge.
Awesome. Yeah. And honey now seems to be like the next big thing. It's like honey, all these hot honeys and everything, but they're so expensive. I mean,
well, because there's
if you
bees.
enjoy it,
Right.
yeah, and rightfully so.
If it's not sugar, the Bear is sugar,
right?
Water with a little bit of honey flavor in it. But I mean, I just heard this, and I'd be interested to know if it's true. So I'm going to repeat it. But I didn't fact check it first. But they said that beekeepers don't get cancer because they're constantly around bees, and the humming of the bees in the hive is like sound healing.
Wow, really?
And so
Everybody get more bees.
Right.
everyone get your bees. But what's really funny is a few years ago, we're redoing our garden, and I said, I want this to be a haven for the butterflies, the birds, and the bees and hummingbirds, right? So we picked plants. Everything was going to serve some function. So I'm from Somerville. You know, I don't even have, I had one tree on my whole street, right?
Yeah.
Not a gardener by trade, right? I'm from Somerville. That's a
Concrete
joke
jungle.
you only get in Somerville, right?
The concrete jungle.
If you know, you know.
You know. And so the first time I'm going out to weed and all the bees are thrilled and they are hovering all around on the plants, right? Doing their thing. Now I have to weed in the space and it's like a devil demon, like,
Yeah.
that sound. And I'm like, well, this is what you wanted. Like, and so I just over time just would habituate myself, and every once in a while they'd bounce off me because they were so heavy they couldn't quite, take off. And I'm like, don't swat at it. It's not hurting you. And but over time,
They're just saying hi.
yeah, over time I can do it. But they do have a very cool. Now that I don't think it sounds like
Yeah.
the devil.
So we have milkweed in our English garden, and we must have hundreds of bees. We have honeybees. So there's a guy that does honeybees up the road from us, and I don't know if they swarm or what they're swarming, but we must have saved over 100 bees out of our pool because they'll come down and they'll want to drink in the water. But they're so gentle. I mean, I have video after video. I'm like, why do I do this? It's fascinating at the moment, but I'm like, I'm not going to do anything with this. So but the bees are just crawling over, or I have one and I put it to music. He's drying his body off on Chris's hand.
Yeah.
And so I have it zoomed in. I have it on 4K. So it's actually cool to watch him. And I put it to music, like he's rubbing his back legs and he's, they're actually really cool. We have them.
I love watching them collect all the pollen underneath them.
Yes.
You can see them, and
Yes.
they're harvesting.
Yep.
And sometimes they sleep. They just fall asleep in there, and I'm like, oh, you must be so exhausted. You're exhausted.
But when you walk by our garden, you can hear that hum. Yeah. And if you actually just start to look closely, then you can oh my God, there's bees everywhere.
Yeah,
but we've never gotten stung by one.
Yeah, those bees don't want to sting.
No.
They're not like
Well, they
hornets.
die if they
Use their stinger.
Yeah, not like yellow jackets where
Yes.
they just enjoy. They live to sting you and ruin your day.
Who can I sting today?
Yeah.
So I love.
See, that would be
the
me.
bees.
That's probably why God didn't make me a bee.
But I keep thinking to myself, we also have mountain laurel, and they just go to town back there, and I wonder if I can do honey here with what I have going on.
Oh.
But then I think I do not need another hobby.
I have a
You
friend
sure?
of mine. She's a
do
bee.
not.
I have a friend of mine. Her son wanted to do it when he was younger, so they got they got the boxes, the
Yeah.
hives and stuff, and she's learned so much about, and it's fascinating.
It is.
Like they literally take care of their own, and they have no waste.
Really?
Like they take care of their body. They clean out their, like when they go potty, they clean it all out and very.
That's
even
interesting.
they're dead.
Really?
I don't know if they push it out, but she's like, yeah, it's fascinating. I don't remember all those stuff, but I was like,
Yeah, because I remember the first time I was like, oh, this bee died on this flower. And then,
yeah, and then when you when they swarm, you got to go find them.
right. And then you're like, oh, when I go to touch the flower and he starts moving and he's like, oh, I just needed a nap.
Yeah.
I've been exhausted. I've been out since 6 this morning, lady.
So what would you say is your ultimate motto? If you had a motto for life, what is your motto?
Boy, put me on the spot.
You can come back to it if you can't answer it
Yeah.
right away.
Well, I mean, don't quote me on this. Don't put it on my headstone when the day comes.
Don't hashtag you on it.
Do not hashtag me. that will last forever. Just my motto is just do as much as you can that you love, like while you're here, because we were having a quick conversation off air about somebody passing, and we know that can come at any time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this counts as a motto or whatever, but it just, if there's something you want to do, do it, because you just never know.
Yeah.
And well, I'll stop there because we don't want to get morbid talking about
We love
life
getting
is
morbid.
short. And
Oh, we
everything.
love it.
We love
Okay,
it.
well let's
Mine
get going.
is,
here.
I feel like I have a few over Mine
Why
is
not
one of
both? Is yours?
Yes, why not both? Or hold my beer. Mm-hmm. Or be curious.
Yeah.
And
Be thoughtful.
I was building a wall. We have a little TV spot on the. We have a little landing area, and I built a wall of photographs, and some of them have like little sayings in it and stuff. And I had printed them all out, so it's all in a black and white theme. Chris is like, you can't hang that on the wall. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to put it in the closet. And so I have a little shelf that I have hats and stuff up there. And every day we see it. And it's write a great effing story. Mm-hmm. He's like, you can't hang that on the wall if company comes over. Like, well, it's my house. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. You're only coming to my house because you know I'm going to say this anyways.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
What are you
doing
read it
here?
or it comes out of my mouth. What's the difference? But here we go.
And if you don't like it, what are you doing here?
But actually, and I actually love it in there because it is a reminder, like, I'm in control and we are writing a story. Mm-hmm. And it does remind you to be curious. And I thought that was good since we, have two authors in the house today.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You're in the presence of greatness.
Yes, absolutely.
But so are we.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yes.
Well,
Because you're good with a chainsaw, we've heard. So.
And we're not. Well, we might need you in our stories.
Yeah.
We need a
Maybe.
Robyn.
definitely add a little color. Well, so today on the way in, my outfit was totally different. We love clothes. So I had gotten these pants the other day. So every year for Christmas Eve, we always do pajamas. Mm-hmm. Well, nobody in my family really wears pajamas. So last year, Kayla's like, why don't we get something that we really like? So I got the boys American Eagle sweatshirts. They're heavy duty, like they wear over again. And then we got some nice sweatpants that they liked, like the joggers or whatever. And I forgot what Kayla and I got, but we ended up getting like cashmere sweaters for Christmas Eve. So I got our things and I was like, oh, these are cute. These are going to be cute pajama pants. They're sweater pants. And I'm like, I'm going to try them. So I'm like, try before you buy. I don't know if she'll like them. So I'm putting them on this morning. I'm like, oh, they're so comfy.
Yeah, you look snuggly.
And I'm like, they are very comfortable. And I'm like, but are they pajamas or are they pants?
Well, I'd say they're pants.
But I'm like, all right, now I just, now I'm the same person that I ridicule Walmart people for.
I know, but those are pants. If you happen to wear them to bed, that's good for you. But you're not in your pajamas.
Well, how do we know?
outside.
It's not even labeled. I don't even know. Or sweater.
You could have fooled me. So.
But if you walk in Marshalls or TJ Maxx, they have all these sweater sets. Like
Interesting.
top and bottom. I'm like, I don't think I have a problem wearing all one color. Just
Yeah.
I feel like that's for like when you hit a certain age. You see all these old ladies.
The
and
jean
like, where do
tux.
they even yes.
Oh, yeah,
the denim
jean.
tux.
Or like
That's a Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a jean jacket with a jean button-down shirt and jeans.
oh, denim and denim on denim. That's been a no-no for like I don't know.
If you watch Stargate,
weird.
which they recorded a lot of it in Canada, that's how I came up with that piece. There's so many, when they're not in their uniform, because they're all military, they're always in denim on denim on denim. And I'm like, who is the stylist for this show? They should be ashamed.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do denim on denim.
No.
With a
It's
third
never
denim. That is the jacket.
So a denim
been
shirt
three-piece
too.
denim.
Yes. A
Yes.
3-piece denim. Yes.
I love that Canadian tuxedo.
Yes.
Don't wear it.
Our apologies to our neighbors to the north if they're
We
tuning
love our
in.
Canadians.
Yes.
I think they don't love us anymore. We used to be their big brother, where whatever we were doing, they were like, can we come? And now they don't like us.
We're like the cousin in the back of the station wagon that drives you crazy.
Yeah, with the uncle where they're like, are we bringing them to Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them again.
Oh
Okay.
God.
Don't let them talk politics.
Oh yeah. I'm out.
So you were saying that you have a bunch of author friends. Do you guys have a writer-reader group? Like beta, alpha, and beta readers?
Yeah. At one point we did, and unfortunately, so I kind of stepped away from writing after the summer of the virus, and got in, just some other interest and took a break. But prior to that, there was a lot of us just kind of bouncing ideas off each other and giving encouragement and beta reading and all that, and also doing shared events with each other, doing signings, sharing tables with each other, meeting the public and all that. So it was always fun. It was kind of just like a a traveling party every weekend,
Mm-hmm.
you know, going, okay, we're going to be doing, you know, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, at the Red Hook Brewery. There would be an
Mm-hmm.
event up there, and then down in Providence, Rhode Island, at the Rhode Island Comic Con, which was, you know, off the hook down there, as you kids would say, um, and and things like that. So it was always fun to do that, and I definitely recommend, again, like if anybody's listening that's looking to getting into writing, that go out and find where these things are happening, author events, or or somewhere where a local author will be appearing, and then go there, strike up a conversation, maybe buy their book too, and have them sign it for you, but kind of get a little bit of an understanding as to how the process is. And believe me, writers they'll eat that up if you ask them anything about their book, while they've been standing there for like 5 hours watching everybody
Right.
walking by them. Ask them a few questions, and we'll just start talking your ear off
Yeah,
about it.
because we've been talking to our family and they don't want to hear it anymore.
Oh, they're so done.
When
They've
is this
changed
book
the
coming
locks,
out?
everything.
Change the number.
Yeah.
So what do you do for fun? What do you do to relax?
When it's nice weather, summer, like I just always like being out, like walking. I love biking. Didn't really do much of that this summer though, but
Like road
Like
biking or-
motorcycle?
Oh.
no, cycling,
Okay.
yeah.
I was gonna say road or mountain biking.
Yeah, road bike and e-bike. Yeah, I went that route, and take
You
that
need to
out
get a
every now
bigger
and then.
engine.
Yeah,
Get a bigger engine. Get a motorcycle.
get a motorcycle. That'll be
a
next.
motorcycle.
Okay, well,
What's an
We'll see.
e-bike?
electric bike.
You don't have to.
charge,
You can
yeah.
pedal it, but it
can't
mostly
pedal.
goes by itself.
Yeah. Which I learned early on when I was riding mine, like around town and everything. You'd have the people that were actually cycling on their road bikes, and they'd yell, cheater, as you're going by. It's like, okay, now I'm being bike shamed, because I'm like, what is this world coming to?
Right.
What cracks me up about that is
I would definitely use that on the hills.
I have a speed problem, right? I love to speed. So I either need to be under the volition of my own body,
That is not
but
a
the
lie.
second an engine is involved, I'm gonna go fast. So to me, it would be like I don't know that I could handle this subdued speed that I was going, because it's like, oh well, if I'm going under my own volition, I'm only gonna go as fast as I can go. But if I have any kind of engine, I want to go fast.
So that was
I
you
wanna
that
go
went by me
fast.
this morning on
Yes.
my way up here. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely.
thanks for that.
So I drive a Ford 350, and in the winter we have the sander on the
Diesel.
back, diesel,
So you hear her coming.
right?
And if that's not enough, she's got the backup. Beep, beep.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, Lisa's here. My ride's here.
she came to play. There you go.
and
She ain't messing around.
I act like I'm driving a Porsche, so I go around the corners and. My husband will come home and he'll be like, the sander's tilted. Because I'm like, I'm skidding the sander in the back. He's like, it's off the block. Stop going fast around the corners. I don't know how not to go fast around the corners. I don't know how to do that.
It's not in my blood.
So if you
It's
do,
not
if
in
you
my
go
blood.
grocery shopping, basically you're putting everything back in the bag when you pull up home before you bring it
Yes,
in. I gotcha.
yes.
Okay.
That's why I don't do
couple
plastic.
broken jars.
Yeah, I don't do plastic because it just rolls around everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you like boating, snowmobiling, any engine things?
Yeah, I love boating. I don't own a boat.
Mm-hmm.
The next best thing is always having a friend that owns a
Absolutely.
boat.
Yes.
Yeah, like having a friend that owns a pool.
Yes.
Yes. So that's how I roll.
Yep, excellent. I love
Yes, yeah.
Yes,
But
yes.
I do love I love traveling. Managed to get away a little bit this past summer, and that's pretty much my passion. Just like getting up and going somewhere, whether it's just one state away or 10 states away or out of the country or whatever. Hopefully, I think maybe next year I might actually get a little bit more lengthy traveling in.
With
and,
something on your wish list, someplace you want to go that you haven't yet.
Probably Australia. That's
I like
I guess you can't get any further away than that. So
Fiji. I want to go to Fiji.
yeah. Oh, I've heard Fiji's beautiful. Yeah.
So I'm no
Tahiti.
longer wanting to go to Bali.
Why?
because I saw on Instagram that when you're not directly over the water, there's these huge, gigantic spider webs that are all on the street.
spider.
Oh, I'm all set.
And
with that then.
gigantic spiders, like the size of your fist spiders. And they're all, so he's pedaling on a bike and he's like, this is the other side of Bali. And I'm like, they never show that on the Travel Channel. They
Nope.
never show the cobweb streets. And I said, maybe that's why they only
Spiders
ever
taking
show those 10 huts over the water.
Yeah, that's it.
Because if you're not there, you're in spider
I
world.
think it's all of it anybody knows of Bali.
Yeah.
I'll take that off my list.
Yeah,
then.
so that one, I crossed that off. I'm like, okay, whew, that's done.
Have you been to Switzerland?
I have.
Ah,
Yes.
That's
yeah.
one of my favorites.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Are you a skier?
I was like.
Did you
I
ski there?
I didn't.
Okay.
No, I wasn't in the slope region. I was in Geneva, which was kind of bordered Italy, the lower part. Which, oddly enough, there was so much Italian food in Switzerland. I'm like, where's the fondue? Where's the chocolate you all speak of? I'm like, but I've got 15 different Italian restaurants everywhere I turn. But it was beautiful. Yeah, I love that city over there and the whole Swiss culture. I'd love to go back there and maybe attempt skiing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to break something,
Break it in
it's
the
a great
Alps.
story. To yeah.
Well, I love it. So we stayed in, we went to Rome and we flew out of Zurich. And so we took like 3 weeks. Then right over the border, like Lake Como, Lake Maggiore is where we went into. And then like Lauterbrunnen and Interlaken. And that's where all that, like you're in the Alps. Zermatt, like that is where the Matterhorn is. Like it is.
That's where all the pictures you see are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
You see that emerald green, funky, like water, blue. Like, is that real? You know, you're just looking around and like the steepness of it. Like, I was never really scared of heights before, but going up on a gondola. And what's nice about the gondolas, like in the ski area in Zermatt, you don't have to pay for skiing. Like they'll take the in certain places you do, but there's these slopes, these snowfields in the Alps that in the mornings for the first hour the lift is running for skiers. And you just go up and they drop you off. There's like a little conveyor belt. You walk out of like the observation tower and it has like a little conveyor belt, kind of gets you to a certain point, and then you just find your way down back to the. So it's not a great big area, but it doesn't cost you anything. It's just like it's just part of what they do. It's like, here, come ski, come be in our snow and be outside. And
yeah, this is what we're all about. We're sharing it with you.
Yes.
And, what a concept, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, not trying to like rip you off to be like $80 for the bunny slope. Oh, you want the magic
$80 just to
carpet?
park. Yeah, exactly.
You want the magic carpet? That's $160. But yeah, that was fun. Switzerland is very pretty.
Yes, Switzerland. I've done Sweden and Stockholm, but that, and again, no offense, Sweden, but maybe my least favorite European city.
Really?
It was.
Have you been to Poland?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No.
I hear Poland is amazing.
I have too. Yeah, I'd love to have that on my list.
That is on my list. I have family that's out there, my husband's family. And for a long time, my husband went when it was still under communist reign.
Oh, wow.
So he had a
Okay.
completely different experience of what Poland was in the 80s. And since then, they've come over, have been
Yeah.
freed from that.
Things have loosened up
And
quite
they
a bit.
said that it's really affordable and it's gorgeous and the food is amazing. I love Polish food. So do you make anything Polish? Any Polish things like pierogi or anything?
Just jokes.
Just jokes.
Sorry.
How many Polish people does it take to screw in a light bulb? There's a truly tasteless joke there somewhere.
Oh boy. Yeah.
We love stand up too.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually never had the pleasure of getting into Polish cuisine. But I've had it. Yeah, I've eaten it. It's great. Yeah. Like,
In Montreal, there's a restaurant called Stash,
Oh, okay.
and they serve Polish food, like real Polish food. It's down in a basement. That you have the seats up top, but they go down in the basement, come up with pierogies, bigos. They have every type of sausage and kielbasa. They really do an amazing job
Oh, nice.
for Polish food to eat there.
I actually have Montreal on my radar for the next, over the next but by the summer. So I have to look for that place.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely go. It's in Old Montreal.
Okay. Even better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's your favorite dish to make?
Salmon. I love making salmon. Any kind of pasta dish, like with grilled chicken or whatever, because you can just get very creative all over the place. I mean, you can do 1,001 things with both, fish, chicken. I love making steak. I don't like eating it. I'm not a big steak eater, but I think that goes back to my restaurant days when it was just, presentation. Had to have those perfect grill marks, presentation on the plate and everything. So I think I just really found a fascination with, cooking, grilling the perfect steak. I love Mexican food, so I
Do you make your own
that a lot.
salsa?
I do, yes, yeah. Oftentimes I do, which I mean, it's pretty basic, chopped onions, tomatoes. I'm not a cilantro person, believe it or not. You too?
I am not a cilantro person. I think
Okay.
it tastes like
Soap.
parsley.
Well, it's too much.
Parsley rolled
if
in
you have
poop.
too much, then it's yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
yeah,
I think
it's a ruiner.
I
Yeah.
do think that cilantro, even when it's, I don't like to eat it and then you're like, ugh, and it's like that,
That
you're
after.
trying to lick it
Yeah.
off of your tongue, it gets stuck
Yeah.
to the back of your tooth, or
Mm-hmm.
no, I like to chop mine really fine, but I think that a good salt, it just brings, to me, I think it brings that a little bit of a freshness to it, but not too much because then it's like, ugh, I don't.
Yeah.
So we have a taste bud that does not allow us to taste it the way you taste it.
Yeah,
I
get
what
that.
is it, like 1% of
Yeah,
the
the population
yeah.
can't have cilantro.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it literally it tastes like soap
Yeah.
to certain people.
Yeah.
which
See,
is
my son
very
loves
odd.
it. Chris is like, don't put too much.
Yeah. Isn't
I
that
found
funny?
a good balance for it, but
So in my cookbook, there's no everything is made with parsley, and I say a couple of times like most people use cilantro here. I am not.
so how could you tell? So before we wrap up, being a chef and all, what is your tips? How could you tell our listeners what's a good tip for making, steak?
Don't over marinate it. I think you just I know people like to, they're in the marinate camp or not marinate, but
Right.
if you're gonna just do it very lightly, don't let it sit overnight in the fridge marinated. I think just salt and pepper, garlic a little bit, maybe even a little bit of soy sauce actually is good, before you put it on the grill.
Almost like a little salty. Adds
Yes,
the salty to it.
yeah, and then just let the natural flavor just work itself with those elements. Yeah, I'm not a big, even though I'm the guy who has sauces and all that stuff, but I'm not in the camp of you need to douse everything with tons of
A
sauces
good
and
steak,
seasonings.
you don't need any season. You don't need a sauce.
Exactly. Yeah. So almost with anything you cook, just start with the basics and then just kind of flavor up, to your own liking. But
Now, do you room temp your meat before you?
you should always,
Yeah.
room temp. For at least a half hour anyway,
Yeah.
because you don't want to put a cold piece of meat, whether it be chicken or a steak or something, on a hot surface, because then you're going to be peeling it off like Velcro
Yeah.
afterwards. So
Yeah, I made a tuna steak the other day, and I made it just like I make steak, and it came out just so perfect. And I'm a big fan of. I didn't grill the tuna; I did it on a pan. Really, really drying, so that there's no liquid
No
whatsoever.
moisture.
And so I'm a big fan of cooking tuna because I cook tuna just like it, and I get a crust on the outside, and then it's rare in the
Yes.
middle, and it was one of those things that the minute I did, I'm like, man, this is fantastic. Like, I did a great job.
Yes.
John's like, you really did. I'm like,
That's
this,
when you're like,
and I think it was
high
the perfect
five,
temperature.
I
It came
nailed it.
from the store in the car. By the time I got home, I didn't put it in the fridge. By the time I cooked, it was like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And I think that was the perfect room temperature for that particular
So you have to
steak.
repeat that step,
step
every time.
single time.
Yeah,
Yes. Because I'm a
exactly.
technique person. Because to me, 50% of what you do, it's just a technique.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
when I cut something, everything has to be uniform in size so it evenly cooks. That's a thing for me. I don't like big pieces of onion and small pieces of onion all cooking
No.
at different times. Like
Consistency is yes.
I'm a little bit, because when you make something, you're trying to can I make this any better? Or is this as good as it gets? I'm always trying to can we do this a little bit better? So I'm a chicken pounder. If I'm eating chicken, it's pounding.
Oh yeah, I like that chicken.
Because when people just put a giant chicken breast on the grill and try to grill it, I'm like, are you high?
Yeah, it's gross.
It's not good.
I have to pound it so it's the even length. I have to put, I cannot handle the fat chicken on one side and the skinny little tiny
It's why I
tail
don't like
at the
to
other
even
side.
go
It's so bland too.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Like I like Chick-fil-A, but I don't like to do their sandwiches because I don't like, there's one side that's really thin and then you got this all honking and, chicken's chicken. Like when you get that thick of meat, there's no seasoning or no flavor on it.
Yeah, and
It's
without
true.
pounding it, the fibers are tough.
It's got to be a lot of white meat.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to tenderize.
Yeah.
It's just bland, like you said. Big.
Somebody's calling in.
Somebody's calling. This is going to be Johnny. Hold on.
So, when you're talking about your sauces and stuff earlier, and I wanted to say, to me, I think there's only two types of people in the world. There's either dippers or non-dippers. It's true. We're dippers. Do we have one?
No, it was Google. My Google account is ready.
Oh,
It was a spam call. Sorry.
Nice.
coming in through the radio.
Coming into the radio.
Google.
The
will
Google
find
listing can't find you. Oh my goodness. I want to
try
do.
here.
Let's do Drew Dunn's AI voice. Hello.
You. Oh God, I can't do it. I forgot how to
do it.
queued
Drew
up.
did it so good. Oh.
Have you thought about doing any of your signings, like your books, selling your books overseas?
Yeah, I actually was able to for a couple of times, a couple of those European trips. I got to do a couple of hours at like a little book show out there, just through people that I knew that kind of, said, yeah, come on, when you're over here, we'll get you in and all that. So that was fun. That was quite an experience. I mean, being able to be over in Sweden was where I had done one, and thank God again, everybody can speak English over there, whatever. But it was fun just to be able to say, hey, yeah, I'm signing internationally.
Yes,
out here, or
yes, I
whatever.
love it.
I'm an international author.
Yes, yeah, maybe put that on the business card.
Yes.
I've done some right down the street here too with the public library a few times over the years, which is fun. So it's so thrilling to be able to just again put the face,
the connection, the
reader.
piece of the connection. Yeah.
Yeah, and just spend a few minutes talking, about whatever, or just what they like for books, or maybe they're giving me a book recommendation or something. But that's the real payoff to doing this, because you don't want to just be a writer and have Amazon sell it for you and you just kind of bask in the shadows. Like I actually like going out there and putting
You want to be an
a
active
face.
participant in your.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I think it's the connection with the reader, because as a reader, it's the writers. I was telling one of the comedians that came on, I don't care about celebrities. Give me comedians and give me authors, and I lose my mind.
I agree.
I don't care about celebrities.
Anybody
I don't care.
can memorize a line and just spew it out. But
they're just not my people. My people are writers. My people are the storytellers, the
They're
writers,
creators.
Yep.
and to me, comedians are creators. They're storytellers.
comedians I have a lot of respect for. That's a brave venture. It's tough. More power to them.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on the show, Rob.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
We
you
are-
for having me.
Wrapping up another Thursday edition of Lisa and Robyn on the mic on WSMN 1590 AM 95.3 FM. You can watch and stream on WSMN.live. Stay tuned for the rest of the afternoon at WSMN, and we will see you next week.